On today's episode of Adventures of Lamati, I'm going to tell you an aspect of the German language that your high school and university professors may have forgotten to tell you. Hallöchen Lieblings, I'm Mari, author of the space opera The God Queen, who has been living in southern Germany since 2014. On this episode, I'm going to tell you about the minor yet crucial aspect of the German language you should know about. But before we get started, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. That lets me and YouTube know you like content like this and you want to see more. So there's one thing that I didn't realize when I was first thinking about coming to Germany. High German or Hochdeutsch can only get you so far. I mean, you can speak High German, that's not a problem. But then you'll have to wade through the plethora of dialects that this country has to offer. When I first moved to Germany back in 2014, I was living in Baden, worked in Swabia, and my husband is Hohenlohe. That's 3 different dialects. But now we actually do live in Hohenlohe in my husband's family's house, so now I only have to contend with 1 dialect, so thank goodness. You see, for me personally, I see a dialect like a puzzle because it still is High German. It's still German. It's just pronounced differently for the most part. And of course, these dialects are still influenced by their neighboring regions. So I live in Hohenlohe, which is between Swabia and Franconia, which are 2 larger regions, and their dialects do kind of bleed into Hohenlohe. But Hohenlohe itself is actually a subdialect of Franconian, period. But there's still some bits of Swabia that gets in there. As a writer, I love words. Thus, learning languages has always been really fun. I thought this would be a fun topic as a writer to kind of dive into and give you a little bit of basics of Hohenlohe. I love words, and learning this dialect has been both fun and frustrating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a word in English, I'll give you the High German, and then I will give you the Hohenlohe. My husband's not here to correct me, so ha 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 ha. So with the first one, we're going to start with potato. Potato in High German is Kartoffel, and in Hohenlohe it's Ebeere. What? Though technically I think Ebeere actually comes from the word Erdapfel, which is another German word for potato. It's like pomme de terre from French. Apple of the earth, that's what Erdapfel means. So I think Ebeere is closer to Erdapfel than Kartoffel, but technically everybody knows Kartoffel. Here, the Honna. I was talking to actually one of my friends who's from Bavaria, and she told me, she's like, you've really gotten ingrained in Hohenlohe culture when you finally start utilizing the Honna correctly. I haven't gotten that far yet, but whatever, I'll get there. Eggs, Eier, gagelig. So technically in Hohenlohe, pretty much year-round, they still use Eier for eggs, but at Easter, they'll refer to the Easter eggs as Ostergagelig. And technically, Gagelig is Franconian, but yeah, like I said, Hohenlohe is a subset of Franconia, so it makes sense that they would use this word. But I think it's such a fun word, like Gagelig, Gagelig. Little rascal, frecher Jung, Kribbel. You hear that often in Mooswiese because there's Mooswiese Kribbel. That's usually what the men in this village refer to themselves. Inside, hinein, nee. To call, anrufen, Olede. My husband, mein Mann, may Mo. This one I really liked because I learned this last year while I was doing the local theater, and since then I definitely call my husband this on a regular basis. May Mo. Fortunately, he also gets a kick out of it because it's just fun. It's really fun. So on the other hand, your wife, deine Frau, de Frau. Since I call my husband Mo, he calls me Frau. To say, sagen, suche. Where to? Wohin? Wo no? To clean, sauber machen, or putzen, ausputzen. That's a little hard to say. Ausputze, ausputze. So when you think about it, ausputze sounds like putzen. So this is what I mean by different. It's like a puzzle. It is technically German, just pronounced differently. Can you? ... Kannst? Kosch. Very fun, right? These are only 12 words. I could probably go on, but I figured, for Hohenlohe 101, we'll just stick with these. But I do want to go through the names of the villages because there's also a Hohenlohe version of these villages here in this region. So, Rot am See is Rod. Brettheim, Brede. Reubach, Reiber. Scheinbach, Schambe. Kralsheim, Kralse. And Schwäbisch Hall, Hall. From what I've noticed with a lot of dialects, it's just a way to speak German faster because German is actually very difficult to speak quickly and enunciate correctly. It's a very, especially with all those consonant clusters kind of, clumped together. Thus, these dialects kind of just evolve to allow the speaker to speak quicker. We have the same thing in English, of course. You have, instead of I'm going to go to the store, is I'm gonna go. Or, so the contractions in general allows us to kind of, throw things together like is not, isn't, has not, hasn't, doesn't. Would not have is wouldn't have. We have that in English as well. We just don't actually think about it. And of course, once you start getting into, the different regions of the US, we do have dialects. We refer to them as accents, but I mean, it's more than just how we pronounce things. It does come down to vocabulary. There's the age-old fight between pop and soda, which Hollywood seems to assume is a big fight in the Midwest. I've not really always seen it personally. But then again, I grew up just calling it Coke. So I'm like, I guess an outlier. What's wrong with me? Regardless, I think the whole dialect thing is really fun. So if you like more, if you want to learn more about Hohenlohe, or maybe I can try to dive into other dialects, in which case I would probably get experience, like proper native speakers of said dialects, let me know in the comments below. And what about the rest of you? How about my German audience? What kind of dialects are spoken in the area that you live in? Or what are the dialect versions of the words that I use today? Or do you even have those? And for you expats out there, what are the dialects in your area? Do you find that it's really difficult to learn? Because I definitely found it difficult. It took me a few years to finally get the hang of Hohenlohe, and most of it was actually having to do theater, where I was having the lines in High German and having the locals then repeat those lines in Hohenlohe. So that helped a lot with learning dialect. But other than that, it was like completely a different language. So yeah, let me know, expats, how you've managed to learn your local dialects while learning High German at the same time. So that's it for today. Thanks for joining me. If you are new here, please consider subscribing and give this video a thumbs up. It lets me know you like this kind of content and I will make more. Yeah. Definitely leave me a comment below about any other topics, comments, questions, concerns you have. Please let me know. The God Queen is available on paperback and ebook. I have all the links below. It would make a very good Christmas present. Wink, wink. Wink, wink. Wink, wink. Be sure to connect with me on social media, whether through Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Also, check out my newsletter, where you will get the most up-to-date information on books, projects, pugs, and giveaways. Just for subscribing, you'll get a free character sheet to use, as well as the first 6 chapters of my debut space opera, The God Queen. And that's it for today. Until next time, ade!